Moses fled into the wilderness of Midian, he did not carry God into the desert with him. He arrived to find a man who already knew the one he was about to meet. This is Al-Bad in the northwest of Saudi Arabia, the land the Bible calls Midian. The caves here carry a name the local people have used for centuries, Mughair Shuaib, the caves of Jethro. This is where Moses tended another man's flock for 40 years, and that man, the priest of Midian, holds a question most readers pass right over. Did he know the Lord before Moses did? Everything depends on what we are asking. Yahweh, the name of the Lord, was revealed to Moses at the burning bush, and even Abraham had not carried it. Abraham knew God as El Shaddai. So when we ask whether Jethro knew Yahweh, we are really asking two questions at once. Did he know the name given in Moses' own day? Or did he know the one who bears it, the Lord himself? Those two come apart in the text, and the answer to the second runs all the way back through Abraham.
We mentioned that Yethro was a Kenite, a descendant of Abraham, through Midian. And again, Abraham surely taught those 6 sons from Keturah. He surely taught him his ways. There was oral tradition there.
Midian was Abraham's own son, born to Keturah. And Scripture tells us plainly what Abraham did with these eastern children. He gave them gifts and sent them eastward into the very land that would come to carry Midian's name. He sent them away with an inheritance, and there is every reason to believe his inheritance was far more than livestock and silver. It was the knowledge of his God, handed down by word of mouth.
And don't forget, there were patterns also that were established, and we developed this tour, Egypt to Midian, for a reason, because there's a strong Egypt connection with our faith and the covenant walk. And remember Abram? He went to Egypt with Sarai, and then he came out with Sarai. He came out with Hagar, which means literally in Hebrew, Hagar, the stranger. So he goes to Egypt. He comes out with not only his bride, but the stranger, a bride who would also give him offspring, and he plundered Pharaoh, so to speak. Pharaoh was plagued. So we have this pattern with Egypt and the covenant. We saw with Israel, that pattern played out with Israel, and we've been talking about that through this entire tour. Yeshua went to Egypt, and then he came out, and he renewed the covenant. So we see this Egypt, deliverance, and covenant connection that's repeated through the Scriptures. Well, I wanted to just take you back to the first time when Abram came out of Egypt. We read about a promise and a covenant. And first we read the promise in Genesis 15, starting at 13. It says, "Then Yahuwah said to Abram, know for certain that your descendants will be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and will be servants there. And they will be afflicted for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation that they serve, and afterward they shall come out with great possessions. As for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace, and you shall be buried in a good old age. And they shall come back here in the 4th generation, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete." So that promise, this is the prophetic promise, and this is what Yethro saw fulfilled.
Which promise? Generations earlier, the Lord had told Abraham that his descendants would be strangers in a land not their own, afflicted 400 years, and would come out at last with great possessions. That promise belonged to Abraham, and it traveled down the family line as surely as anything else he taught his sons. So when Jethro watched Israel walk out of Egypt after 400 years, carrying the wealth of the people who had enslaved them, he was not meeting a stranger. He was watching his own forefathers' promise come true in front of him.
When he met with Moses and the children of Israel, he actually saw this promise fulfilled. And they had an oral tradition. Just like we have prophecies that are written in text, while these civilizations and these cultures had oral tradition. So they would have had this oral promise, this oral prophecy that had gone through the generations. So Yethro says, now I know that Yah is greater than all the other gods. So he wasn't saying he just learned about Yah. He's saying now he knows this. He saw this prophecy fulfilled.
This is why the road from Egypt to Midian is no detour in the story of the covenant. It runs along its spine. The Lord was known in this wilderness before his name was ever spoken from the bush, kept by a priesthood that traced its own line back to Abraham. When Moses fled east, he did not walk into a godless desert. He walked into the keeping of his own family and found a man who already knew the God whose name he was about to learn. We walk this land on our Exodus journeys through Midian, and we would be honored to have you with us.